From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And Wally, the anticipation is just about over if you're an NFL fan. Bigfoot is here. Yes. And the National Football League will start to eclipse every other sport as they kick off yet another season. It begins on Thursday with Detroit at Kansas City, and then a whole bunch of games on Sunday and Monday. And the Minnesota Vikings will open at home against Tampa Bay. Couple of division champs from a year ago.
Oh, yeah. Baker Mayfield and company, not Tom Brady. Baker Mayfield, the quarterback at Tampa Bay this year.
No Leonard Fournette.
No.
He's gone.
No Kyle Rudolph.
No Kyle Rudolph. No Tyler Johnson.
That's right.
But Antoine Winfield's on the roster. I know he's been banged up.
Yeah.
We'll see if he plays.
Yeah. So it's all purple all the time now? You shifted out of Twins gear?
I don't think it should be. I think you got to give the Twins a lot of love. They might be going to the playoffs, and I think Gopher football, after a dramatic comeback win over Nebraska, they deserve some attention as well. But we know how it rolls. The NFL, boy, they just have a knack for commanding the news.
You're forgetting about the Wild. Yeah, preseason workouts coming up here.
So true. And the Minnesota Lynx punched a playoff ticket.
All kinds of stuff. But we'll go NFL. We'll go NFL all the time, at least for the first two segments, because we're going to talk to former Viking Stu Voigt and get his thoughts on this 2023 season. I don't know. I have a hard time getting excited quite yet. I think I still need to see a few weeks of football before I really get into it. I'm still kind of in baseball mode. I tease about the Twins, but I'm in baseball mode here for a few weeks. Football is going to be something that I certainly am paying attention to and watching and covering, but baseball, this is the pennant run right now, right?
Yeah, crunch time. October now just weeks away, so you will have playoff baseball coming up. Twins might be part of that mix. I think especially now with the 17-game marathon NFL regular season and a preseason that really is counterfeit football, where you can't get a read on anything in those three preseason games.
No doubt.
At least I can't. So I think the first 3 to 4 weeks of an NFL season is now the great unknown, the mystery part of the season. It's really become the real preseason. I would expect to see some sloppy football in week 1, maybe week 2. One thing I've learned in following the NFL for decades now is don't have a knee-jerk reaction on what happens in week 1, good or bad. Your team might lose and you think, okay, we got to make wholesale changes. Well, don't panic. And they might win. Well, don't print your Super Bowl tickets yet, or don't book a flight to Las Vegas where the Super Bowl is. In other words, a lot of things tend to correct themselves as the season goes on. Week 1 sometimes is an outlier.
Yeah. Well, how many times have you heard Aaron Rodgers over the last few years? Yeah. What did he say? That one word? Relax.
Exactly.
Tell folks. And there's a lot of truth to that, actually. But I agree with you. I think that the preseason has now become like the first couple of weeks of the regular season. And you really don't know what you have. Because the preseason, basically, the 3 preseason games that they play, basically they're tryouts for these guys that are trying to make the squad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what that has become. So the regular season, first 2-3 weeks, they're still trying to fit these pieces in where they would have already had them fit in during a normal
it's a
preseason.
jigsaw puzzle. Now, I will say, though, you certainly want to stack up as many wins as you can because they all do count
the same. And the other thing is that now you have a 17-game regular season. So, again, if you lose week 1 or you go 0-2, it's not the end of the world, but they do count the same. But the thing is that they now have 17 games, and we've talked to folks that are almost absolutely, positively sure that it's going to go to 18 games.
Well, there's time to bounce back. And there's also time if you're 2-0 to fall back to the pack.
No doubt.
Now, I would say in the case of the Minnesota Vikings, who do host the Tampa Bay Bucks, you want to win this game, obviously. But big picture, You better win this game because then you have a short week and you travel to Philadelphia for TNF, Thursday Night Football, my least favorite part of any season. But that's going to be tough because the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. They almost knocked off Kansas City. So you're going to have to flip it quick and go play at the Link in one of the most hostile situations in all of sports, especially in a primetime game where you know those Philadelphia fans are going to be liquored up and angry.
That's Thursday Night Football for you.
All right, stick around. This is 10K Takes Your Purple Ticket.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
As we roll along here on 10,000 Takes, talk a little Minnesota Vikings football now as they get things going against Tampa. And joining us now is Stu Voigt, former Vikings tight end, former Vikings broadcaster. Stu, your outlook on the 2023 season for the Purple is what?
Well, Wally, first of all, glad to be out with you and Eric. 13-4 last year is going to be tough to beat. They won a number of close games. I think I've seen the statistics, 12 one-score games. They might not have as good a record, but I think they'll have a better team, if that makes any sense. I also think their schedule is much tougher. Philadelphia, Cincinnati, San Diego, Kansas City, all the Philadelphia way. I mean, it's imposing. That's what you get when you have a great season. I think they've solved some problems, but also still offensive line, defense, a question mark. We'll see here when they line up against Tampa Bay, who's a better than average football team. I think they won the NFC South, but I think they had a probably losing record, like 8-9 or something like that. So we'll see. I think all the signing the tight end, and with we still haven't signed up Justin, but I'm sure that'll take place. Not quite sure what the running back situation will be. Madison's a good all-purpose back, but maybe not a great back. So there's some questions still to be answered, but I have confidence they'll be a 10-win plus team.
All right, Stu, your old position was tight end. You made a lot of clutch catches back in the day for the Purple. Go into that tight end room now. You mentioned T.J. Hawkinson. He got the payday, the NFL lottery. He won it. And then you have Josh Oliver. They brought him in from Baltimore. He's more of that physical presence. I'm guessing more of a blocking tight end. Break down the tight end position for the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, first of all, Eric, I think they're going to carry 4 tight ends unless something's happened here in the last couple hours. I mean, they've got 2 other tight ends that performed pretty well during the preseason. I like the idea that Oliver, I think he may surprise. Good blocker, no question. You need something like that because my question is, will they have a running game? And you need a tight end to block if you're going to have a running game. And they'll put him right next to the tackles like a normal tight end and move the other tight end around who'll catch some passes. I'm not sure, how much they'll use the tight end because they still have to get the ball to Jefferson. They need somebody coming out of the backfield, but you want a well-rounded offense, and I think the tight ends will play a very, very major part of that. Oliver, I think, will improve. He was a receiver in college, a pretty good receiver, so he may catch some balls and take some pressure off the other tight end. So the passing attack, I have no problem with. Kirk Cousins knows how to run a passing attack. If he's given protection, he's going to be a 65% completion type guy and tougher than you think. I think his best years are right now. Next couple of years are going to be his best years. So I don't worry about the passing attack. I worry about the running attack. And, of course, I worry about the defense.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the running attack without Dalvin Cook. Without that threat, you don't necessarily have to have him in the football game or running the football, I should say. But the fact that he's not back there as a threat, how much of a factor is that going to be, to those coverage guys who, might have dropped off at Jefferson by a half a step or whoever?
Well, Wally, I think, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I love Dalvin Cook. They undervalue running backs nowadays, carrying a big salary, shoulder, leg injuries in the past. You wonder how productive he would have been. But at his best, he was really an asset. I mean, he was a young Chuck Foreman coming out of the backfield. The linebacker couldn't cover him. You have to use the defensive back, change the defense all around. Alexander Madison is kind of not the same receiver, pretty good blocker. C.J. Ham, pretty good blocker, fairly good pass receiver. But I worry that you're not going to have that same threat. So you got to have something at least to scare them a little bit that you're going to run the football, that you can convert 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 situations without having to pass the football every time. You don't want to become a stereotypical offense that pass first and then a little bit of a run here and there. They've picked up some guys that may help, but as yet that's a real untested yet critical position that has to be contributing to the offensive firepower. No question, with the philosophy and the way they move the defensive backs around with the wide receiver pairings they have, they'll pass the football. But if you let the defensive line tee off on nothing but a passing rush, I think that might cause trouble down the road. And we're playing better defenses this year than we played last year.
And Stu, right now, because of injuries, they are a bit thin at that running back position. I feel like Kenny Nwangu can be that change of pace back, and he's explosive in the return game. We saw it especially in his rookie year. The loss of Nwangu, and hopefully he's back soon, what does that mean?
Well, yeah, again, he's good guy on the kickoff, although I think they picked up the kid from, I think his name is Powell from Los Angeles, do returns, but he would have been a guy to throw in there, a little Jim Kick and Mercury Morris, a la the Miami Dolphins way back when. But if he's healthy, that'll help. I mean, I think it'll be running back by committee. Certain situations down and distance will predict who's going to be in the lineup, and sometimes they'll have an empty backfield. I think this coach really knows how to spread out the offense, and you're going to have good game plans. But I got a feeling down the road, when you're in clement weather, you're either away from home, you want to cement a game when you're ahead by a touchdown with minutes left in the fourth quarter. You want a running attack to get your first downs. You don't want to, as old Gopher coach Murray Warmath would say, when you pass the football, a lot of things can happen. And most of those are bad if you have interceptions or sacks or something like that. But again, I have a lot of faith in the coaching staff. Not so much faith in the offensive line. I'm not sure. I think O'Neal has been banged up a little bit during training camp. We need him. The rest of them are still unproven. That's going to be the season. I mean, I'm not sure I worry that much about the NFC North. Looks like maybe Detroit will be up there. Boy, those are games worth watching, and we'll see how we man up. I don't think the Vikings are like the Vikings in the past. They're not a physical football team. They're going to have to outscore you. There'll be more 45-40 games than there'll be 14-10 games this year. So get ready for a real rodeo as far as football games. You don't have to leave till after the game's over, because I think a lot of them will come down like last year. Who's going to win those close games?
All right, 45-40 football games. That tells me you don't have a ton of confidence in this Viking defense, which wasn't very good last year. We saw in that playoff game against the Giants scored every time they touched the football.
Well,
what are your main concerns about the defense?
Well, I think the new coach Flores. I think he's got their respect. I think as Jerry Burns used to say, and not maybe as mildly, the heck with the plays, give me the players. Do you have playmakers? Do we have guys in the secondary? Harrison Smith is a great player. Is he a little long in the tooth? I mean, does the strong safety, can he contribute? Will our corners hold up? I didn't think last year Hunter and Darius Smith were used properly, and they were kind of stand-up rushers. And I think the whole defense was out of whack last year. What were we, 31st or 32nd in the league? There's a lot of room for improvement, even up the middle. I mean, it was like an all-you-can-eat buffet. There was everything you wanted there, and the Viking defense was available. Run the football, pass the football. I mean, some of those games, I know you guys were like me. Boy, that was troubling that the East teams would move up and down the field. Now, whole new look, some of the same players, few players a few years older. You lost some pretty good players that I thought were if not game changers in Smith and Kendricks and all that. They were at least good, solid players. They've got to be replaced, and that's easier said than done. I mean, hope springs eternal in training camp, or what you call training camp this year. Nobody hits each other, and you don't really do much in preseason games. So that team against Tampa Bay, I have complete confidence in the offense. The defense, get ready, hold on tight, put on your chin strap. It's going to be wide open football till the defense proves that they can take a lot of the pressure off the offense. That offense better be ready to score some points, or the game. And of course, the NFL in general, people want to see offense. While I said there could be a lot of games where it could be 42-40, coming back, and then who could kick a field goal. Needless to say, I'm not sure that I wish the games to be 14-10 like in the old days when you felt good about beating the Bears 14-10. You may have to beat them 42-40.
Yes. And hope your special teams also are very good.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, we haven't even talked about that. I think kicking's pretty good and punting's pretty good, but how many games, Eric, we talk about that. How many games come down to, somebody shanking a 35-yard punt or a field goal missing a 30-yarder to win the game? I mean, we lived a pretty good existence last year. Things bounced our way at the end of the games, and I'm not sure that will happen this year. Even if it happens half the time, we're in good shape. But if our luck seems to fade, well, then we fall back into the middle of the pack.
Stu, I'm curious. You played at Wisconsin. I was at that Gophers-Badgers game last November at Camp Randall. I saw your plaque on the outside of the
there you go.
Of the stadium, that old facility that's got old bones and all that. But in comes UCLA, in comes USC, in comes Washington, in comes Oregon. Is that good for the Wisconsins, the Minnesotas, the Iowas, the Illinois of the Big Ten?
Well, I hope so, but boy, it's gonna, not just in football. I mean, it's gonna create different things in different sports because I guess I'm a Pac-10 fan from the, if you got UCLA and USC. When I was in college, we played those teams, and I mean, they took their toll on Wisconsin in the 60s. I mean, with the OJs and the Gary Beebens and the Tommy Prothro and Coach Robinson at USC. I mean, boy, you didn't want to see those guys. I mean, you tried to schedule like now they scheduled last week University of Buffalo this week. They're always tough Georgia Southern. I think it's going to be interesting. But the travel alone, I mean, man, if you're in Rutgers and you're going out to play USC out there. But the almighty dollar prevailed. I mean, a long time ago, the Big Ten tried like crazy to get Notre Dame in there. And, of course, they went their separate ways. But we've ended up getting Nebraska and a few teams. But it's a whole new ball game. I mean, I think it's all predicated on money and the fact we've got now a super conference. I see where Stanford and a couple other teams went a different direction. So I used to like the Rose Bowl being the Pac-10 against the Big Ten, but now I'm not sure that even is that's just another bowl game.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Stu, great stuff as usual. We will definitely be checking in with you as this Viking season marches along, and we'll talk to you then.
Please do, guys. I enjoy talking with you.
All right, thanks, Stu. He is Stu Voigt, the former Minnesota Vikings tight end, with us right here on 10,000 Takes. More after this timeout.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Well, if you're a Major League Baseball player, what you want to do is play meaningful baseball in the month of September. And the Minnesota Twins have more than accomplished that. Of course, they were playing meaningful baseball last September, but things all went to hell in a handbasket. Now, they are the leaders as we head into these final weeks. And I guess it's not a matter of hanging on. To me, it's still a matter of building towards the postseason so you know who your guys are going to be and what lineup you're going to run out there on a daily basis come October.
Yeah, and it's about keeping the pedal to the metal.
Exactly.
And getting yourself in a position, if you do make the playoffs, and it looks like they will, to be ready to go when you face a Texas or a Houston or a Seattle.
Hopefully they will
Tampa
play
Bay.
Texas.
Yeah, they're pretty good against Texas. They're, 5-2. They won the season series. So they'll have 2 games minimum at trendy Target Field, 3 if they need it. It's a best of 3, and they won't have to travel because they won the AL Central, which is it's going to be unfair to whoever they play because more than likely they'll have a worse record. But yes, I think just finish strong, and get rid of Cleveland. Don't let the Guardians hang around and think that they have a chance, because that's the worst thing you can do to a team.
Well, especially a young team. Those young guys in Cleveland, if they think they have a chance, they don't know any better. What they know is they won it last year when the Twins fell apart. Now, this is a different Twins team. I really believe that. It's the pitching staff. It's the, it's the Pablo Lopez factor. It's the fact that Sonny Gray is full strength and has pitched well all season long. I mean, those are the huge factors. What I am concerned about, to be honest, is the back end of that bullpen. Johan Duran he throws 150 miles an hour, but man, he has had some implosions.
He walks a tightrope.
Yeah, he does.
He's a little bit like Aroldis Chapman, who is on record with having thrown the fastest pitch in MLB history. I mean, he brings the gas. He's with Texas now. But yeah, you never quite know how it's going to go with some of these closers who come in and they're just relying on pure heat. So I think you're right. I also feel like they're going to maybe have to win some games in the playoffs, a la small ball. You can't just crush it and hope you're going to out-bomba somebody. But you have to feel good about Royce Lewis being on your roster, especially if the bases are jammed.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Grand Salami.
He is. He's the Grand Salami King for sure. All right. We'll see what this salami has to say in Takes of the Day. That's coming up next.
The excitement is real at Fond du Lac Casino. With over 650 slots to play, there's always something going on right in the heart of downtown Duluth. Come in to enjoy 2 floors of entertainment where you'll find some of the hottest new games along with a number of the old favorites. Play at your comfort level, all the way up to high stakes where the payouts can be huge. Relax in a comfortable atmosphere and maybe get a beverage while you gather and have fun with your friends. Open 7 days a week so you can
Have a great time out at Fond du Lac.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Takes of the Day coming up in a couple of minutes, but we don't want to shortchange the Minnesota Gophers. Boy, they had a dramatic comeback win against Nebraska at Huntington Bank Stadium on national TV, Fox. The other night, I happened to be there, and by all accounts, the Cornhuskers should have found a way to win that one, but the Gophers proved to be very resilient, and they get it done.
Yeah. Are you concerned about the Gopher offense, or do you think this was first week, get the cobwebs out type of thing?
Yeah, it's hard to read, a lot into week one. We talked about it in the NFL, same with college. Right. I would say this, love their defense. Love the old school slugfest type of game. I know you didn't, but I was okay with it. I don't mind those kind of games. I don't need cartoon-like numbers every week.
Yeah,
but beyond that,
But
they
10-10.
have to run the football
Yeah.
better, though. They've got to take some of the heat off Ethan Kaliakmanis, the quarterback, and you can't do that if your leading rusher has like 47 yards.
Yeah.
You got to get the ball to the tight end, Brevin Spanford, more, in my opinion, too. He's a huge target.
Well, here's the other thing. We know for a fact, even though PJ Fleck says he's going to mix it up more, the offense is going to be more diversified. Baloney. Your guy PJ wants to run the football. He wants the old Woody Hayes style, 3 yards and a cloud of crushed up rubber tires.
That's right.
He really does. He wants to run the football. That's what he did with Mo Abraham the last,
he did.
7 years, however long
Well,
Mo's
they've
been
been
around.
very deep at running back
No-
the
no
last few
doubt.
seasons. I don't know about this year, though.
No doubt. I mean, they've had the players and the ability to. They've had the talent for that, and PJ likes to do that, and that's his style. So you're right. The running game is going to have to pick up because AK-47, as you call him, he has got to have some of the pressure taken on him. He's going to be able to move more. You know, he's going to move a lot more than you saw Tanner Morgan the last few
Yeah,
years.
he's mobile. I saw that in the game. There's synergy with Daniel Jackson, who had the tremendous toe tap, that touchdown that tied it up. So there's some good things. There's things they can continue to work on. I feel like the one thing in being there, now part of this is the Nebraska fan base. There was about 15,000 folks
course there
cheering
were.
for the Cornhuskers, but it felt like college football. I mean, there was a gold out. All the Minnesota fans wore gold, and the Nebraska fans were trying to rile them up, cheering, "Let's go Cornhuskers." But that was the way a college football vibe should be, and we're going to see more of that. Maybe not Saturday night against Eastern Michigan. I don't know what that's going to be like. But
They
now,
travel well, I hear.
very good. I think they're out of Ypsilanti, Michigan, right? Whatever.
Okay.
So in the future, when you get these Oregons and Washingtons and USCs and UCLAs and all the other Big Ten teams coming in, that should be the norm.
Okay. We need to do takes
Yeah.
of the
We're going
day.
to find out, are you a happy camper?
Yes.
Angry American? Demanding diva? Sarcastic Sam, what is it?
Well, football's on my brain, so let's go National Football League. Yes, the National Football League's opening weekend is upon us, and I thought I would preview, and let you know what I think about the NFC North, or the NFC Norris, as Chris Berman from ESPN used to call it, or in this case, it's about the same as the AL Comedy Central. I don't think the NFC North is going to be very good this year. Wasn't very good last year. All we had was your Minnesota Vikings coming in and ducking out quickly out of the postseason. One and done. That was it for the NFC North last year. Probably will be about the same this year. Look, the Bears, I just have zero confidence in their defense or in their ability to throw the football when Justin Fields doesn't have great receivers. The Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Look, the Packers don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. We've heard that story. We'll see. I'm just not a big guy on Jordan Love. And then there are the Detroit Lions. Who in the world actually is going to believe that Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions are going to be the team to beat in any division, let alone in the NFC North? No, I'm not on board with the Lions. I think it's your Vikings division to lose as opposed to anything else.
A big gulp of purple Kool-Aid for
Yeah.
this guy. Let's check out the mood meter.
Yeah.
All right, Sarcastic Sam, as he throws shade on the NFC North. I'm going to throw some shade on ESPN. I was watching the other day, and they were talking about Caleb Williams, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner from USC. Had a fabulous week one against Fresno State. Look, he's great. He's going to the NFL. We know that. But they already had a graphic up saying, will the Arizona Cardinals select Caleb Williams number 1 in the draft? Can we pump the brakes on all this speculation? Can we try to live in the moment? First of all, we don't know if the Cardinals are going to have the number 1 pick. Maybe they're going to be good. Who knows? And it's just so much hype and speculation. What about dealing with week 1 in the NFL and the week 1 we just saw in college football? I mean, you have so many other topics to get into. Give me a break.
Boy, you are a hot salami.
Yeah, I am heated up. And on that note, we got to FedEx out our thank yous. One to David Weld, Alex Yambrick, Stu Voigt, and Rocky. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.